Hiya, folks. This is Rick Emmett of Triumph.
This is Mark Merrill, also known as Johnny B. Bad.
Yo, guys, it's Mark McKay.
Hey, this is Frank Fletcher.
Hola, amigos. This is Billy Sheehan.
Hey, guys, this is John Karabi.
Hey, guys, it's Leva Leone.
What's up, guys? Cassandra Carson here from Paralandra and the Life Project.
What's up, everybody? It's Logan from All the Pretty Things.
Hey, this is Cody Howell.
Hey, this is Sammy Lee, drummer of the band Red Rain.
My name's Reggie, and you are listening to the Weekly Pour podcast. Thanks so much for joining the most amazing twosome out there.
The most amazing things that can happen to a human being will happen to you if you lower your expectations. Welcome to the Weekly Pour podcast. Here are your hosts, TBT and Ace.
We're here, I promise. What's up, everybody? I am TBT. That guy over there is Ace. Welcome to the Weekly Pour podcast. This is episode 85. That was my best Ryan Seacrest imitation. You know, where you go, this, and then he says whatever he says. What's up? How are you? I ain't seen you in like forever.
I've been around.
Oh, maybe I haven't been around. I don't know.
I haven't come by to see you.
True.
Since I've been back from my trip.
Since I've been back. Wait, that's not how it goes.
This has become our special time together.
It is. You're lucky we're even on the air because we could have just kept talking, you know, prior to the show and just not went on. The chat's going. Welcome to the chat. Let's see. Chat's in right now. Natalie, of course, it looks like Mama TBT's in. If you guys are in the chat or if you're just watching for the heck of it and not in the chat, go ahead, do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up. That helps us help you and helps you help us and helps Natalie not get on your case about doing the thumbs up. So, yeah, considering I'm only seeing one thumbs up, y'all need to get to it. Shannon just came in. Thank you, Ace, for throwing up the thumbs up in the middle of the screen. That's always great.
How did I do that? I didn't do anything.
Don't know. I don't know.
You were supposed to tell me how to turn that off, and you haven't done that.
Right. There could be a reason I've not told you how to do that.
Because you just want to keep it going.
Pretty much. I've learned a new thing. Oh, look, there you go. You think that's cool. If you're listening to this, you're obviously not seeing what's going on if you're listening after the fact of us doing this. But I have learned something. I'm gonna try this and see if it works. I'm gonna take this and I'm going to put this here. Look, you can see I can now take any of the chats that come across, whether it be on our live YouTube or on Facebook, and I can throw them on the screen. Do you see it, Ace?
I see nothing.
Well, what if I put it in front of my face?
Oh, now I do.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind. I don't want to put it in front of my face.
No, because the aspect ratio of what I'm looking at is smaller than what I see on YouTube.
Okay. Well, see, this is one of those things where if somebody puts up a good question, in order for me to not forget, I can throw it up on there and then you can see it as well. Because here's the thing, it's technology. And we're not always looking at the YouTubes. We're always looking at the Facebooks when we're live. We don't know what's going on. You guys carry on conversations that we know nothing about. That really probably has nothing to do with the show. And then by the time it's over, you guys are, oh crap, I guess I should watch. Even though it gets too late. But whatever. Hey, look, I'm supporting one of our guests, wearing my second shooter shirt.
Saw that.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. I encourage everyone to support our guests. Yeah. So the last time we were on was what, 2 weeks ago? You were in Canada.
I was in Canada, yes.
Yeah, I'm very happy to see that you're back where you're supposed to be. We've got your background the way it's supposed to be. I don't feel like we're out of touch. I feel that finally you're back and I feel whole again.
I'm glad. I want to thank the Canadian relatives for letting me use the kitchen.
Is that where it was? The kitchen?
Yeah, the dining room table.
Okay.
But it worked.
It did. I was more worried about the blinds in the back, you know, like falling or a dog jumping up into them, a cat, although would have been entertaining, but still.
No such dogs or cats. They have a rabbit and they have birds.
Okay. And I'm glad they were caged, I think.
The birds were.
Not the rabbit, though.
Nope, the rabbit is free range.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How was your trip?
Trip was good. It's not it wasn't a vacation-y type trip. It was more of a trip to check on people, see how they're doing. I have not been to Canada probably in 5 years.
Okay.
So it was good to go up there and see some people I hadn't seen in quite some time. And of course, we made a trip to New Hartford, New York, visited Kathy for a little bit. And it was a good little trip. But yeah, we were mainly checking on people, making sure everyone was okay and that sort of thing.
That's one person I've not seen jump in yet. It's Kathy.
No, she was working last time I saw. So she should be somewhere. Maybe.
Exactly. Well, we held the fort down while you were in Canada. We kept everything going good here. So
what's up with you?
Nothing.
Besides your shirt.
Nothing. I don't think. Like, I literally have to think about it because there's just not a lot going on.
No projects.
No.
You're not spending a bunch of money for anything right now.
Or spending money I don't have.
Right, which is what I do.
Right. I have enjoyed the almost 75-degree weather that we've had the past few days. Thank you for bringing that down from Canada. and only to look, and I did this earlier. I'm going to do it again. Because I just about threw my phone when I looked at it, but I pulled up the weather for the next week. There's thunder going on here in the background, by the way. We were having a thunderstorm in February when it is currently 64 degrees outside.
It's March.
So, yeah, I know. And I know nobody tunes in so that they can listen to us talk about the weather. But tomorrow, our high is 58. Our high today was 68. I'm going to go to Sunday because that's the coldest we've got. The high is 48 with a low of 30. Why?
Because it's March, and March is a miserable month.
Let's just get to a normal temperature and stay there.
Can't do it. Not where we live.
Obviously. The one bad thing from yesterday when I walked outside is that I saw a wasp.
Oh, no.
I killed it, but still. I don't like wasps.
I got a new car for work.
Please name it the Wasp.
And it had to go to the garage before I took it over. And the air conditioning wasn't working. And now's the time. Because you know what I'm talking about. You get in there, you get to driving around, and you get hot, especially if that sun. And it may be only 75 degrees, but gosh, we need air conditioning.
Yeah.
Picked it up today. I drove from the garage back to work. Out. It worked perfect for 10 minutes.
Oh, that's good.
10 minutes.
Wow.
So it'll be going back tomorrow before I take it over again.
Lucky you.
Hey, I'm getting it done now.
Yeah.
And not August.
Yeah, exactly. Bunch of people jumping back into the chat. Everybody's saying hi. Sandra's in there. I already talked about Shannon. Look, we even stepped in there to say hi. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. And don't forget to hit that like button if you happen to be watching this on Facebook Live. So one of the cool things that we get, I guess, to be privileged in is we've got, I don't want to call them connections, but we have connections within different parts of the music industry. And one of the perks that we've been afforded has been the ability to listen to albums prior to the release, which we've been doing for probably about the last 2 weeks, one in particular.
Yeah, about 2 weeks.
Yeah, because I think we got this around our last show, and we've had 2 weeks to to listen. This Friday, which is what, the 8th, right?
The 8th.
Yeah. The 8th of March, Judas Priest is releasing their first album in 6 years. And it is called Invincible Shield. Somebody saw me earlier today and said, "Hey, you misspelt invisible." I called him a moron and said, "No, the word is invincible." But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, Invincible Shield, released by Judas Priest, coming out on March 8th, which is this Friday. It's currently in pre-release. I'm not sure if right now if that's one that you could order from Kathy yet or not. I would assume so, but
Probably in a pre-order, sure.
yeah, that's one of the albums that we've had the privilege of getting, both the regular album and we actually were lucky enough to get the deluxe version, which I think included 3 extra tracks. And that was one of the things that we were going to talk about tonight is the fact that we got this. We've both listened to it, and now it's okay. What do we think about it? And thank goodness, without going too far into it yet, thank goodness it's good.
It's very good.
Because I would hate to come on here and be like, so we got to listen to an album. It comes out this Friday. So about that weather. Yeah.
We've been talking about this record, ever since they announced it, which was quite a while ago.
Yeah, months ago, if not sometime last year.
Yeah, I think before Christmas even, it was announced. And they have put a lot of effort into promoting this record. I think more than I've seen them do in a while, because I think they know it's good.
Yeah.
Is it Thursday? Thursday they're doing the worldwide listening party, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So at different rock clubs or rock bars or that sort of thing worldwide.
Right.
That would be fun if we had something like that near us.
I know.
And then we could walk in like, hey, we already know this.
Yeah. I know the next track.
Already heard.
Yeah, already heard it.
But yeah, I've went through it probably 3 times, I think. And I know you have too. You just listened to it, so it's fresh in your mind.
Yeah, I've listened to it twice today, probably 4 times altogether. But just of course, I wanted to listen to it for the show just to get a little bit more refreshing on there. But 4 tracks have been released so far. These 4 tracks, there's not going to be another one before Friday, as far as I know, considering today is Tuesday, or at least it's Tuesday during this live broadcast, unless you listen to it later. The tracks that have been released so far are Panic Attack, The Serpent and the King, Crown of Horns, and Trial by Fire. The deluxe edition is 14 songs, one of which is a ballad, if you will, a Judas Priest ballad. That is the 14th song on the deluxe edition, called The Lodger. Before we go through these, I'm just going to run through the list of the track names. 14 songs. Again, it starts off with Panic Attack, The Serpent and the King. Third track is the title track, Invincible Shield, followed by Devil in Disguise, Gates of Hell, Crown of Horns, As God Is My Witness, Trial by Fire, Escape from Reality, Sons of Thunder, Giants in the Sky, Fight for Your Life, Vicious Circle, and The Lodger. 14 tracks. 14 strong tracks. I know you and I both have, we've got our favorites from the album, but I don't think there's a single song that disappoints. We've talked about this before on different ones. There's not a song on here that I would skip in order to get to the next one.
That was what I was going to bring up to you is there a skippable song, as I was listening to it today? And I didn't think there was.
No.
Especially not in the regular track form that you would get, not necessarily the deluxe edition, but those 3 tracks are pretty darn good as well.
Yeah.
And what stood out to me the most was the production. Uh, Andy Sneap, who's the producer on this record, he's also their touring guitarist. Because Glenn Tipton doesn't tour, but Glenn played on this album. He brought such a modern sound to it, a modern metal sound, and it's crisp and it's loud.
That's a key term that you just used, that it's crisp. That's the epitome of this record. Every song, it seems like, is just crisp. Like you said, it's that production. It's a very, very good put together album.
Right. And those first, at least, the first 3 tracks are right in your face. They're right in your face. The big drums, the shredding guitar, and the guitar work is some of the best I've heard on a Priest record. It's excellent.
Yeah.
I know a lot of that's Richie Faulkner doing a lot of the shredding on that.
Right.
And man, he just nails it all the way through. There's one song we discussed before we came on. I can't remember exactly which one it is. Maybe Trial by Fire, where the intro sounds like an Eddie Van Halen piece.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
I believe that is. It's really cool. I like it.
Yeah, the whole thing is good. Yeah, there's no skippable track, and there's no track that you don't want to go back and listen to again. Like if I'm driving down the road and I hear one of them, I'm going to hit back just so I can hear it again because it's just so good. My favorite one, gosh, it's hard to narrow it down. I think I've got 3 favorites or 3 top. The whole album is good, obviously. 2 of which have already been released. One is Crown of Horns and Trial by Fire. My 3rd favorite from that album is Escape from Reality. And I think I mentioned this to you before we went on the air. Escape from Reality for me is Painkiller-esque. Like it could have fit very well on that Painkiller album. Because to me, this album is by far my favorite since Painkiller. And I love Painkiller.
Right. It's an excellent record. And here's something too I didn't expect. But Rob Halford, of course, the legendary vocalist of Judas Priest, like he brought his A game.
Oh, let me throw this out there. He's 71.
Right. I didn't even guess that he was quite that old, but
yeah.
And of course we know what you can do in a studio, and I'm not saying they're doing any trickery, but my goodness, he sounds amazing. You want to hear some of those? He almost sounds like King Diamond on one song where he's up so high on one of those screams.
What is that? Is that the Serpent and the King? There's one of them. I don't remember if it was Serpent and the King or what, but yeah, one of them. He is just on fire, and like you said, it's like, oh, it's King Diamond. That high pitched shrill. Yeah, it's good. Damn it, it's good.
And you mentioned one of your couple of favorites there. I was a big fan of Gates of Hell, Devil in Disguise, Crown of Horns, and those are one of my favorite songs. Priest does is Some Heads Are Gonna Roll, Heads Are Gonna Roll. They remind me of that in that tempo, the way they're presented, and I like that groove. Yeah. So you've got these blistering songs that hit you in the face for 3 tracks, and then they kind of change it up a little bit, and they even change it up by the end. Last song, I think it's Giants in the Sky, like is not your typical Priest song.
Right. Well, and that's how I felt when I got down to the Lodger, which again is only going to be on your deluxe copy. It's a ballad. I mean, that's it. Plain and simple. It's a ballad. Really glad they left it to the last song on the album. Again, I wouldn't skip it, but the way it just comes out at you and kicks you in the face and then gets you some water and then kicks you back in the face again. I don't want a ballad thrown in the middle of all that. I want my heavy breathing to continue until completion. And then I want something to lullaby me to sleep. Well, right. That sounds bad to say lullaby myself to sleep, but, to bring the tone down a little bit.
And I know it's only March, but I don't know how you beat this record. If you're competing with Priest, they're laying down the gauntlet and saying, come on, up your game, everybody, and bring us a great record.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you beat this record.
Last year it was February, March, I think, somewhere around there. I'm going to have to look now because we may have the same thing going on. I got to look this up real quick before I say much more, just because I got to look at a date. I got to look at a date of something here. All right, let me pull this up. And of course, it's not going to give me the date. So, Life is But a Dream that came out by Avenged Sevenfold last year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, it says it came out in June. I thought it came out earlier than that. Anyway, when that came out, there was one that came out. I don't remember. It may have been Extreme. It may have been somebody. But I said, hell, it could have been Metallica album. I said, this is vying right now for Album of the Year. And it was early.
Right.
Priest is doing the same thing, I think. Because like you just said, this is going to take so much to beat. And like you said, they're telling everybody right now, up your game.
Well, but we're getting a deluge of great music. We just had Mick Mars release his highly anticipated Other Side of Mars.
Right.
That I've listened to most of, and it's outstanding. And it's a bit darker, but it's got great guitar work. It's got great vocals. It's got better songwriting than you would think.
Mm-hmm.
Mick has also collaborated with a lot of good people to make this happen. So we had that. Ace Frehley's record just came out a couple weeks back, 10,000 Volts.
And you've listened to that one. I haven't listened to it yet.
Right, I have. And here's the cool thing. That's number one on a ton of rock charts and other charts. So good for Ace.
Yeah.
The thing about it does have some unevenness in the middle. But Ace's guitar playing is on point in that record.
And that's what people want.
Yeah. Yeah. And you want his quirkiness. You want his quirky vocals and for him to sing about space and aliens and shit.
Right.
And he does all that.
And that's okay.
Yeah. And that's okay. And that's 3 right in a row. And now this one, of course, is I think above all of those, and those are good records. So, and we'll talk about this next week, because we've got that scheduled for next week, but the new Paralandra record is out. Or not out yet. It's out in April, but we've heard it because we had a preview.
Yeah. Wasn't going to throw that out there, but guess what? We've heard it. Yeah. Paralandra, there's another one. Album's getting ready to come out. When did you say it was going to be released? April?
It's like April 1st, something like that.
Yeah. And we've got it. I've ran through real quick all of the tracks. They're good. And I'm probably going to sit tomorrow and digest them, really listen to them and get into it. But man, if this is the way the rest of 2024 is going to go, we are in for a treat. And it's only March.
It's only March. I think a lot of that too, if you sit and think about it, is Priest, of course, is coming around to doing a huge tour.
Yeah.
You've got all these summer tours, and it's nice to have these great records to tour on. So now's the time to get them out there.
Yeah.
So it's great. Get the Priest record if you're a metal fan. You won't be disappointed. It's excellent.
Nope, not at all. Get it. If Kathy was on here, I'd tell you to. Well, we'll tell you anyway. Hit up Kathy if you want to get it. If you don't want to get it someplace local, get up with her and see if she can get it and get it shipped to you. musicandmorerecords.com for those of you that are listening and not watching our live broadcast. If you're just checking us out later, Music and More Records, get with Kathy. She can hook you up with your music needs. Support your local record store. And if you don't have one, support Kathy. And we'll be back right after these messages. That was it. Yeah, that was the commercial. She gets free advertisement, our free commercial. Yeah,
you did it well.
I need to just do like a vocal track for her and send it to her and have her play it over her store speakers.
when you were, yeah, you should. When you were doing Jason's at the end with it, because when Bad Company Barbecue was, we haven't talked about them in a little bit because he's on a break, but you were so practiced at it. It's like you didn't even think.
It's like I rehearsed it.
Like, I have to think about everything I say. That's why I pause so much. I'm thinking, oh, shit, what do I say?
That's why my wife thinks I'm arguing with her. I'm like, no, babe, I'm stopping to think.
I got to think.
Are you not going to answer me? I have in my head 5 times.
I'm not quick on my feet like I used to be.
Yeah.
So we discussed this. Where do we want to go next? What do we got?
I literally don't have a whole lot. I've looked. We didn't do anything last week. We because of life getting in the way, we had to postpone last week's. And the week before, we had a very special guest on. Which you know what? I want to touch on something about that. And this is in no way going to this isn't going to be a bash whatsoever. So if Jim or any of his crew happen to be listening, we got hit up a couple days after that interview through our email that our poster, our
promotional graphic,
our promotional graphic, they asked us to pull it and explained afterwards, that, hey, you can't say Jim Peterick,
right,
and the TV show Survivor on the same graphic.
Well, was it that?
I didn't mean the TV show Survivor. I was just trying to save the fact that we can't say Jim Peterick and Survivor on the same thing.
But you say that but in a way that's almost something that could be real, But
right.
Here's what's crazy, and this is what Jim didn't get into. I know why. I think he released a book in 2015. That's where I pulled a lot of my research from with his book. It's called Through the Eye of the Tiger. It's a great biography. If anyone wants to read a good rock biography, whether you like Survivor or not, it's good. But there's a lot of issues in that band, as there are with many, many rock bands. And I think there's been so many lawsuits between the members of that band that Jim just can't even say that he co-founded that band.
Here's the thing, though, with that. His book at the very bottom of it literally says the rock and roll life of Survivor founding member.
Yeah, and guess what happened? He got sued.
Yeah.
He got sued over that. That's where that stems from.
You know who doesn't want to get sued?
Jim Peterick.
Or TBT and Ace.
Right. So we gratefully said, hey, we'll pull it down. The show was over anyway. It didn't matter to us.
Right.
We'll pull it down. But I think Frankie Sullivan, the guitar player in Survivor, and also Peterick's co-songwriter for a lot of those Survivor hits, I think he owns the rights to that name. And, it's kind of a shame, too. I want to get into this a little bit, but I don't think Jim wanted to get very negative, which is fine.
Absolutely.
If he was very upbeat. He sang a lot, which was fun, different for us. Oh. But I don't think he wanted to get into it. But, what bothers me about Survivor is, that Frankie seems to be happy just not letting it do anything. Like there's no social media presence to speak of. I mean, they have a Facebook page, I think, and they have an Instagram, but nothing really going on.
Right.
They tour when he feels like it, and that's not been since 2019.
Yeah, and everybody, 2019 is not that far away. That's 5 years ago now, people.
Right, and when you put it in the spectrum that bands that would be contemporary to them, like Foreigner, Journey, Loverboy, those guys are out killing it all the time. Journey tours seem to get bigger the older they get.
No kidding.
and now Survivor doesn't have the stature that Journey has, but they're not trying.
No,
They're not. You know,
that's like
so
that's like anybody. That'd be like us, trying to establish a reputable podcast and not doing any posting, not posting on any kind of social media and just trying to do this word of mouth. It doesn't work
right.
that way.
No, it doesn't work that way, and you get better shows the more work you do. You get better shows and better things. But the other thing is, do I want to see Survivor without Jim Peterick, without Dave Bickler? Is it just what we used to call Foreigner now, like a cover band kind of thing?
Right.
What is it? But those guys are still alive, and they can still do something if they just get along at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know if that will ever happen. He alluded to unreleased music that we might get to hear. We didn't get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame question I had, which was, do you think that could happen? Because, and maybe it sounds silly, but think of the string of hits we talked about. Just from 78 to 88, 10 years, string of hits. Why couldn't they?
Well, even just going Survivor aside, what that band accomplished, and let's go back to 80, whatever it was, 88, getting your song on a movie, followed by another movie, followed by another movie. I mean, they had a good string. What was it? 3 or 4 songs that made it to legendary status, iconic movies from the 80s.
Yeah, these weren't like little movies.
No.
This was Rocky 3, Rocky 4, 2 of the big ones right there,
Yeah.
and then Karate Kid.
Yeah,
which lives on to this day in Netflix, basically.
Yeah, via Cobra Kai.
And I've never seen the movie Lock. Is it Lock In, Lock Out? The prison movie.
Oh shoot! You know what? I had it until you asked me, and I immediately went to Maximum Overdrive, and I'm like, that's not it.
Locked In.
Yeah, Locked In.
Yes, and that's got Ever Since the World Began, which you discussed with Jim. I've never seen it, but now I want to.
You have to.
Lock
Up.
Yeah, but what's cool about that version of that song is that is not the original version of that. That is on Eye of the Tiger. Dave Bickler sang it.
Yeah.
They re-recorded that with Jimmy Jamison, and it is so good.
Yeah.
So good.
And that was Lock Up. That's that movie. Lock Up.
Lock Down.
Lock Up, Lock Down. Look Through. Yeah.
So there was so much meat left on the bone with Peterick, but we're glad that we got the 40 minutes that we got from him. He indicated we could do it again at some point.
Yeah.
Well, and I wanted to tell you this, just to hit it on the head again about how prolific this guy is and how good he was, Jim Peterick. I watched a concert from 2009 that was filmed in Chicago, where Jim Peterick has got just a slew of all these people he's worked with coming and doing these songs with him on stage in Chicago.
Right.
He starts off with 2 Survivor songs with Jimmy Jamison. Then out comes 38 Special, and they do 2 big hits he did with them. For some reason, Mickey Thomas and Starship were there, but that was great.
Well, they're very good friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Since
But
kids, I think since they were kids.
Well, Mickey Thomas tried out for Survivor. He's another one. Mickey Thomas, Kevin Chalfant, Jimmy Jamison. Think of those guys.
Yeah.
All these guys that can sing so high. But that was great. That was really cool. And Peterick's up there jamming with him. Skinnerd comes out. And then we're back to Dave Bickler comes out, does Eye of the Tiger. It was just such a cool night that if you had been there, man, the moment would have been so special. All these songs, all this celebrating one man who wrote them all.
That was one of the things I wanted to ask him about, was the fact that 3 of the 4 movies the songs were on were Sylvester Stallone movies. So,
Right.
he goes through that story and tells about how Sly called him and, hey, call me back and all that stuff. Obviously, there was an impression that said, hey, I know a guy, I know a band, I know somebody who would be great to put in this soundtrack.
Yeah, and they can deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing too. If you listen to Eye of the Tiger, and beyond the fact that you've heard it a million times, but just sit down and listen to it, and how different it is from everything they have ever done, stands out, and how perfect it is for what they needed. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they came up with it.
No.
And made it so perfect.
It would be very hard to replicate that today.
Oh, certainly. And we don't do soundtracks today, do we?
I don't know.
Gosh, those were the days. I'm going to sound really old, but man, we used to all collect soundtracks for movies because they were so great.
One of my favorite soundtracks was from the movie Shocker.
Right.
Because it was very rare that you had heavy metal music or even good rock music on a soundtrack. And Shocker, which I don't remember, I don't remember when that came out. But
it was late 80s.
Yeah, it had Megadeth.
Well,
how cool was that?
Paul Stanley was on it.
Yeah.
Under a different name. I'd have to look it up. I'm going to look it up if I can, but he was on it. One of my favorites is the Vision Quest soundtrack. If the movie Vision Quest with Matthew Modine in it, because you had Journey, Only the Young, you had Hungry for Heaven from Dio. I mean, just there was just a ton of songs on there.
Top Gun.
Yes, which I still listen to because I'm a nut for
Footloose.
Another great one.
There's so many. Like I'm sitting here getting ready to type something into the chat, but there's just so many.
And those were not just great things for us, but they were promotional tools for the movie.
Oh yeah.
It's something you had to have, and it gave you a piece of that movie. This was, maybe you can't buy the VHS or the DVD or whatever, but you got
the beta,
right, or the Betamax. But you got a piece of that movie in this soundtrack, and you think of it every time you hear it. Another one, Trick or Treat.
Oh yes. Holy crap. I'm going to have to go on and find that one now because I'd forgotten about it.
Yeah. The 80s were just full of that stuff. And, we don't do that anymore. I don't know why, but sad.
Yeah.
The closest thing we've come, I think, is, was it Peacemaker with John Cena?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They had a bit of a soundtrack with it.
Yep.
That's the closest we've come lately. Dudes of Wrath. That was the Paul Stanley thing on Shocker.
Yeah. I just loved that one. It's such a cheesy movie too, but it was so good. If you haven't seen Shocker, you got to see it. What was the dude's name? Pinky? Something, I don't remember. He was the villain. He was the bad guy.
It's been a while. I don't remember, but I was sitting and watching it on a Saturday afternoon at a friend's house, someone and he introduced me to that movie. That and Trick or Treat.
Oh, yeah. Well, I will say that probably one of the top soundtracks that we've not mentioned is Purple Rain.
Yep.
But, that wasn't one of those soundtracks where you've got a different band, a different genre kind of thing. It was just, all Prince, but still.
Right. But he wrote that specifically for that movie.
Yeah.
And that even added more to the concept of the movie, the story. Very well done. Of course, it sold a bazillion copies.
And it probably still sells them today.
I'm looking at a whole list of stuff. Like, of course, the Breakfast Club had a soundtrack that was great. Of course, the Top Gun you mentioned. Batman, the Michael Keaton Batman. If you you remember Bat Dance?
Yes. Again, Prince was involved with Batman.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, just sad that we don't do that in movies anymore like we used to. Of course, the Dirty Dancing soundtrack was huge.
Yeah.
You know, not your vein of music, but it was huge. Yeah, I'll go through this list, but
Now I'm going to have to do that this weekend, is just go through a bunch of old soundtracks and listen to them, because the songs were good. And a lot of the songs you did not hear other than in the soundtrack.
right, you had to buy it.
Yeah. It was not on an album anywhere. It was almost like exclusive to, Footloose, Top Gun, or whatever it was. You could not find it.
Right, you got hired to either write a song or play a song that was already written. Night Ranger has one on the Less Than Zero soundtrack.
Oh, that's another one.
Wild and Innocent Youth is
I think
the song.
Poison is on the Less Than Zero soundtrack when they remade Rock and Roll All Night.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you're right. Mighty Wings, it's on the Top Gun soundtrack. Cheap Trick did that.
Yes,
but they didn't write it. It was the music for that movie was already written. They were just bringing people in, Kenny Loggins, Berlin, whoever to do it. That too is kind of cool because it's something different. Like Cheap Trick doesn't play that song live, and it doesn't seem to sound like them. Just give us the check. But
yeah,
it's still cool.
I think Berlin wrote "Take My Breath Away" because that was on an album. I think.
Okay, I will concede that I probably don't know all about that. So
yeah, that was a big song. I mean, that was, what year was that? Was that 88?
1985.
Oh, geez, 85. Okay. So yeah, we're talking school dances, all that stuff. And that song had to be on every school dance there was, because it was the most badass, rock type ballad that was out there. And it was popular.
Yeah, and it's a cool song.
Yeah.
You are correct. Rock and Roll All Night, the cover by Poison, is on Less Than Zero. Hazy Shade of Winter, if you remember
Golly.
that. Inagata Vida, that's an old one. So, there's a bunch of them, dude.
That movie, if you've never seen Less Than Zero, watch it. It's from 1987. And that was like my introduction into like really watching good stuff that had a plot, still 80s ish, but it wasn't it was cheesy, but it made you think. And Andrew McCarthy is in it. He's like one of the main characters. But Robert Downey Jr. and his performance in that, as well as James Spader, who I've been a big fan of for years. Now we're talking the 80s movie train. We're not talking about the two Coreys, but having James Spader and Robert Downey Jr. in the same movie was just freaking awesome.
Yep.
Knowing that they do team up again later in one of the Marvel movies.
Was that even a movie that was geared toward our age group at the time? I don't think so, but that's the thing. With those types of movies that came out, you wanted to see them.
Oh yeah.
Another one, St. Elmo's Fire, another good soundtrack. I haven't seen it, but it was just pushed so hard back then that I wanted to see it. That's what I'm saying. They weren't geared toward us, but as teenagers at the time. But you kind of wanted to see it anyway because it was just such a big thing. Yeah, another one I know a lot of people in my class saw that came out later was Dead Poets Society.
Yeah.
I remember thinking to myself, though, that was a bit over my head. That may not be my type of movie, but now
No.
I'm older. It's better now.
I still haven't watched it.
Well, you kind of have to now because, Robin Williams and all.
No desire. I'll stick with Mrs. Doubtfire.
Man, he's good. He's good in that one. That's a good one.
Kathy says, what is the question? Kathy, the question is, what is your favorite movie soundtrack? Your favorite movie soundtrack, dating back to whenever.
Right.
You will be the first and only person to answer because everybody else is doing something else because they're not even talking. And the daggone chat is very quiet tonight, and it's offending me.
You would think that everyone in that chat would know what we're talking about because it's our age group.
Right.
Let's see, there's one, Dirty Dancing, Natalie.
Kathy went with Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg. I'm surprised. That surprises me.
Well, that's the one with Steel Dragon, right? That's the band in that movie, correct?
Yeah.
Am I correct, Kathy?
Yeah.
Everyone, I mean, gosh, that band itself, didn't they do something because they were so phenomenal?
Oh, something like that.
How does that? Look it up.
That's what I'm doing. Rockstar soundtrack. I don't even know what all's on that. And Kathy's going to have to jump in and tell me unless I find it on here. Steel Dragon, Spouses, Blood Pollution. I'm looking for the soundtrack. Okay. Everclear, of course, Steel Dragon. Motley Crue, Wild Side was on there. Steel Dragon, Bon Jovi, Ted Nugent. I mean, there were a lot of good songs on there, but like none of those songs, for me, none of those songs are like, I won't say none, but not all of those songs are like specific for the movie. These are pulling songs from other places. Living on a Prayer, Stranglehold, Wild Side. These are all songs that are out there. But it's still a good soundtrack.
Yeah, but for that band, the band in the movie.
All right, Kathy said Spinal Tap, and that wins.
They play Big Bottom sometimes on Hair Nation, Sirius XM, and I chuckle. But then I sit there and wonder why they're playing it because it's not a real band,
Yeah.
But I still chuckle.
But that's okay. Let them do it. I like it.
Stiff the glove.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm looking here at I just want to say, I think with the Rockstar thing, the soundtrack, I think there's some original music because that band had to have original music.
Yeah, there is. And the funny thing with Steel Dragon, Jason Bonham, Zach Wilde, Jeff Pilson. I mean, these aren't just no-name people.
Right, and Kathy makes the point that they're a real band, and that's what I was alluding to earlier, is that they actually went out and did some stuff,
right?
Because they were good. That record makes it legitimate.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think Jeff Scott Soto was involved. Just so many good people, like you said, Jeff Pilson, Zach Wilde. Some good stuff.
Ralph Sands was in it, better known as Michael Starr from Steel Panther. He's actually in the movie. So there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot. I don't know. Maybe it's just Jennifer Aniston. Maybe if it was somebody else, I would have enjoyed that movie more.
What do you have against her?
Nothing. Most of the time. To me, that just didn't fit her. That movie just didn't fit her, in my opinion.
Okay. So you're critiquing the casting.
Casting, yeah, not her acting, because I could watch her act all day long.
I don't even know who's up for the role besides her, but I'm sure it didn't matter, especially at the time when it came out.
Yeah, Kathy said she may listen to that soundtrack tomorrow. Kathy, that's exactly what we were saying about this weekend. It's going to be like soundtrack weekend.
Yeah, it's again, and she missed some of this, but it's just too bad they don't do soundtracks like they used to anymore, because they were great promotional tools for that movie. Trailers are not made the way they used to be. Remember, you had a movie trailer guy with the big voice. Imagine a world where time stops.
You're living in a forest, and all of a sudden, there's a rainstorm.
Yeah, exactly. There were only. Did you know there was only two of those guys? There were two.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they died, and then they quit doing it.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. I need to be my hand held.
Yeah.
While they're, telling me what the movie's about.
I want you to get ready to tell me that we're having Gremlins 3 in that voice. Don't feed them after midnight. Don't get them wet. It's Gremlins 3.
Were there 3 of those? How many Gremlins movies were there?
I really don't know. Maybe there were 2.
There were 15.
No. Maybe there was only 1.
No,
there's Gremlins 2, the new batch.
The new batch. Chucky has his own TV show. How come Gremlins haven't made their own show?
Because I don't know, because they've been feeding them after midnight.
But when is after midnight? That's always been my question.
Midnight where?
Exactly. Midnight where? If I fed you after 5 o'clock, I am already violating the rule because it's after midnight.
Yeah.
And it might be midnight somewhere else anyway.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Exactly. So I just wouldn't have a gremlin at all.
So I guess there was only 2. Gremlins 3 never happened, but there were only 2.
But it should have.
Yeah. Jaws is coming to bite you.
Now there are 15 of those. I know.
Well, it's like Friday the 13th. There's 47 of them.
Yes. Yes, and they're all great.
Or Halloween.
And they're all great.
Yeah. My favorite is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
No, that's a terrible movie.
I know.
You brought that up just to raise my ire.
I did. Oh, here's a question. We should be saving this for a Halloween episode. What did you think of the remake that Rob Zombie did of Halloween?
I liked them, and I didn't understand everyone's gripe. I liked the backstory that he had.
I don't know what the woo is for, but
it's
just because he came in.
Yeah, it's woo.
That's going on your side.
Oh, yeah, because he's our agent. He's our PR guy.
No.
No, you fired him this morning.
I fired him.
So he's got to prove himself.
Yeah. He was hired, and within 3 minutes, he was fired.
I have half a mind to give him the information I have on who to contact and just send it to him and say, Wes, make it happen.
Let's check his let's see how he does that. Let's check and see what the message is that he sends. Hey, yo.
Okay. Yeah. We need to proofread it first, Wes, before you do anything.
Apparently you rehired him at double the salary, so I'm glad you're the one paying it.
Oh. Shit. That's because I work so many jobs.
So that you can afford Wes.
Afford Wes.
Yeah. Oh, well. Hey, next week's going to be a good episode.
We hope, right?
It's supposed to be. Yeah. I mean, do we spoil it or we just wait?
We already mentioned that we have the record. So.
I think we just wait.
Okay.
Wait until at least Sunday, and we'll put out an ad. Is it an ad? It's not an ad.
You know what's great? It's a promotional graphic.
You said that so perfect. It's a promotional graphic.
A promotional graphic. Imagine. So what's great about this band?
Rated R.
I don't think there's any lawsuits that will prevent you from creating graphic and putting it up and then leaving it.
I will be able to make it, post it, and leave it, which is good.
Kathy keeps trying once again.
Yeah, I know.
She's always on. She's been in her own episode. She's been in 3 with me.
At least I was thinking 2, maybe 3. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, quit hogging my spotlight.
She said whatever. Yep. Well, Kathy, I'm at least glad that you made it in. I asked about you earlier since I hadn't seen you, because realistically, this chat was very, very quiet until you jumped in.
You should have heard the quite professional promo ad he gave for Music and More Records. It was amazing.
She's going to have to rewatch it.
Exactly. And it's worth it.
I think so. Plus, it ups the count.
We need that.
Yeah. What's the most interesting thing you've had for dinner lately?
I had tacos tonight.
Well, that's not interesting. It's tacos. Like anything out of the blue, just something weird and random.
No, I can't think of anything.
Really? Okay. I just wondered.
Like what would you have?
I was getting ready last Sunday to cook alligator.
Why?
Because it's good, but I wasn't able to.
Couldn't find an alligator?
No. I only had a crock pot.